Welcome to Unbroken with Yay. Pull up a seat and get ready for some real talk, raw healing, and a reminder that no matter what you've been through, you are still standing. You've got this. Hello and welcome. I am a Yayler, but everybody calls me Yay. I am not a lawyer, I'm not a psychologist, but I am a woman and I'm a mother and I'm someone that has dealt with liars and narcissists and cheats and thieves. And I've also been the one that solo parented and had to put food on the table when I've been in between jobs and kids are having meltdowns. And I've made it to the other side. So I am here to give you the roadmap to how to survive it while you feel like your world is imploding and how to get some peace back in your life. Let's jump in. So today we're talking about the fact that grief has got nowhere to go. And that may be grief of losing a loved one, which I have, or grief of a relationship ending, which also I have. And there's just nowhere for that to go. So how do we deal with that? And what we're looking at is that compartmentalization is actually going to be a survival tool. We're going to look at the 9 p.m. pivot and a whole bunch of techniques and tools that you can use yourself, all of which I've done, and they've all helped me. So the best way to describe what being a mother is like is, and this is a one-liner that I heard Bethany Frankel from The Real Housewives of New York, big fan of hers. She's a self-made entrepreneur, so for anybody that doesn't know who I'm talking about. And she always talks about pros play hurt, and that is the epitome of motherhood. That is exactly how I look at myself and all of the mums that I know. Pros play hurt. There is no off switch when you are a mother. There is no escaping, no downtime. You just have to, do up those boots and get on with it. And I remember I was newly separated. I had my kids 100% of the time. I've got 3 kids. I had to do a daycare and a primary school drop off 9 a.m. in the morning, and I was the last person in my house to get gastro. So I delivered these kids to everywhere they needed to be with a potty on the front seat in case I continued to vomit, because pros play hurt. That was just how it was. Nobody was going to come and collect these kids and drop them off for me. Nobody was going to hold my hand while I spewed in a bucket, or better yet, hold my hair back. Nobody was going to save me. I had to do it on my own. And that's just how motherhood is. It's pros play hurt. It's working an 8-hour shift and then collecting kids and dragging them kicking and screaming because they don't want to watch their brother do basketball training. Pros play hurt, and you have to look at yourself that way and actually give yourself some credit where credit's due. So how do we deal with that? We deal with that by compartmentalizing, which sounds harder than it is, but it is acknowledging in yourself when you're clocking on and off mum mode, work mode, chauffeur mode to those basketball games or whatever it may be, and it's acknowledging those. So I would even call it like grieving time. It's giving yourself those moments that allow yourself to feel that feeling. And when you're not in that moment, you then compartmentalize and go, okay, I have to deal with that later. So let me give you an example. I remember getting off the phone. I was early to pick up at primary school. I was sitting out the front of school and I just had a phone call from a lawyer, and I had 20 minutes before the school bell went. And I just sat there and cried and cried and cried. I was like, I'm giving myself this time. I'm compartmentalizing. This is my time. I can absolutely grieve that I'm in the middle of this divorce. I feel out of control. It's really hard. It's really costly. It's very stressful. And so I did. And I didn't care if any of the other parents saw me. I just sat there and cried my eyes out. And then I knew the bell was going to go, and I dried my eyes and I put on my big girl pants, and I was in mum mode now. So I'm in mum mode, picking up kids, making afternoon tea, we're playing Uno, we're doing all that sort of stuff. So I was able to compartmentalize from grieving to mum mode. So it's all about when and how can you do that. So that's why I talk about the 9 p.m. pivot. So the 9 p.m. pivot this is our tool. This is our strategy of how we can compartmentalize. So 9 p.m. is when, in theory, your children are in bed and all asleep. Now, if anybody wants me to talk about kids that don't go to sleep, kids that don't stay in their bed and how to deal with that on another episode, more than happy to. So DM me. But let's say, imagine if your kids went to bed at 7:30. That would be so amazing. So, but we're calling it the 9 p.m. pivot for argument's sake. 9 p.m. is when you mentally hang those boots up. Mum mode is over. Great. I'm not a mum anymore. I am a woman. I am someone that's grieving. I'm the one that's been separated. I'm the one that doesn't know how I'm going to pay my bills anymore, or can't sleep at night because I'm so heartbroken because my relationship has ended. That is now your time. That is your time to grieve all those losses, feel all those feelings, and you clock into them. So you clock on at 9 p.m. at your 9 p.m. pivot. And the thing about the 9 p.m. pivot is I would allow myself to have that time. And then the second I would lay my head down on the pillow, that's when my 9 p.m. pivot ends. And I got to wake up back in mum mode and work mode and school counsel mode, or whatever it is, the next morning. So the 9 p.m. pivot starts at 9 p.m. and it finishes when you put your head on that pillow, and then you let it go so that you wake up fresh the next day. So what are the tools within the 9 p.m. pivot? So the first tool is, if you can, just a 60-second reset. Even when the kids are going crazy, a 60-second reset, just jump in that shower. Man, if you can do a cold shower, I'm not game. But you want a sensory reset. We're trying to decompress. And if you want to cry in that shower, cry in that shower. So you can do a 60-second reset. The other thing that's really good is writing. So for me, I found writing and music really fantastic for compartmentalizing and addressing those feelings and emotions and anxieties of what was going on. So in regards to writing, there's two forms. There's the brain dump. There's the I hate yous and you're a prick and this is where it went wrong, and the heartbreak, just vent it all out. So I do that, and I even write it as like fake letters to the ex. And if you want to tear them up and put them away, whatever. So that's like a brain dump. The other type of writing is your future memoir. So I started doing that when I first knew that my marriage was on the rocks, and I still do it now. And I write a memoir style of all the things I want, all the things I want to see. What am I going to get when I get through this? What is on the other side? So you're almost trying to inspire yourself to see past, see the end, see the light at the end of the tunnel, that you can get through this. And what are you going to be? Are you going to be resilient? Are you going to have your own home? Are you going to be going on holidays with your kids alone and you feel really confident about doing that? So it's a future memoir writing exercise, and I found that really good. In regards to music, I find I can disconnect when I put music on. So I will either put on really sad songs. I'll put on really sad songs and just let the tears flow. Or if let's say I'm at work and I feel out of control and I haven't made it to the 9 p.m. pivot, I'll put happy music on and disengage from that feeling. It's not 9 p.m. pivot time. Keep it together, girl. So that's how I do that. That's how I use music to my advantage. And then the other things that you can do are sweat it out. If you are an exercise person, if you get those endorphins from pounding pavement or doing, I don't know, whatever people want to do in the garage, what are those, jumping jacks, whatever. Clearly, I'm not very athletic. But sweat it out if that works for you. I'm not really a sweat it out gal. I like to walk. So I will, if on the rare occasion I don't have the kids, I'll go for a walk. But even just things like yoga, I just look up on YouTube and I'll just do yoga in the garage by myself. And that is part of my 9 p.m. pivot while I completely compartmentalize. It's not about my kids. No one's jumping on me while I'm laying on a yoga mat. I can completely engage. And then there's other things like if you choose to put a hair tie or a lacquer band around your wrist, and you can flick that. So when you're doing that, it's a sensory reset when you're getting that overwhelming anxiety, and you're snapping yourself back into it and going, I've got this, I can do this. And that may be something that works for you. The other thing that I've got that works really well, a girlfriend of mine who is currently going through a divorce, and I'm helping her with that in regards to like coaching, and she can call and vent to me. What she does is, and I wish I had known about that when I was going through my divorce, was writing all her feelings down like a poem, just expressing it like a poem. And then she goes online, and there's heaps of AI websites that turn it into music. And so she shares with me her music, and I can absolutely understand her thought process, her feelings, her devastation. And it's a really beautiful way to express all of that emotion, because that's what we're wanting to do. We're wanting to get it out in a safe space when we're alone. Nobody's distracting us. No one's judging us. And we can deal with all of those feelings. So there's a whole bunch of tools there that you can use, but it's all about acknowledging that you need to compartmentalize. And as hard as it is, pros do it though. If you're a professional mum, which we are, right, I can't deal with these emotions yet. I'm making a lasagna. I have to wait until my 9 p.m. pivot, and that's when I can do it. So that's where that compartmentalization comes in, and it absolutely saved me. I managed to keep my SHIT together by doing that. I could absolutely just lock in and focus on one thing at a time, because I was so overwhelmed by my life that if I clocked in separate times, and it sounds really rigid, and I guess it is, but it was the only way I could survive the day. So I implore you, if you are feeling overwhelmed, that may be a tactic that could work for you. So I also provide these in worksheets. So on my website, www.unbrokenwithyay.com.au, these are all free worksheets. So every single episode on my podcast has a corresponding worksheet, and I have taken out the hard work. All you need to fill in is the little bits in between, should you choose to, as a tool to help you. So it's all about putting together a survival kit of how to get through this really hard time that is just all encompassing, and it feels like you're drowning, but you're not. You've got this. You've got this. If I can get through it, so can you. You're doing a better job than you think you are. So give yourself a little bit of credit, cut yourself some slack, and implement the 9 p.m. pivot and see how that works for you. I'd love your feedback. Thank you for joining me. I am Yay, and you are not broken. You are just in the process of rebuilding. And just before I go, I just want to mention that I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a psychologist. So I don't in any way replace those types of professionals, but I am somebody with lived experience that is here to help. So please subscribe, like, comment, and let me know any of the themes that you may like me to cover in future episodes. All the best. You've got this. You're unbroken.